Welcome to the Ottawa Business Journal's live broadcast of Best Offices Ottawa, How to Set Your Workplace Up for Success. I'm Michael Curran from the Ottawa Business Journal. Thank you for watching. Today, we've got our registered viewers starting to tune in, and plus we're live on LinkedIn, Twitter/X. And we're very excited about today's show because it marks the official launch of our Best Offices Ottawa project for 2024, something that started many years ago and I think is more important, quite frankly, than ever. And not only am I excited to have Best Ottawa offices coming back, I'm excited because our partner is back, our expert partner. And when it comes to creating people-first workplaces that empower people to do what they do best, this partner is one of the best in her field. Let's welcome her now. Here from Burovision is its president and partner, Gillian Oxley-Harper. There's Gillian.
Hi, Michael. How are you? Nice to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you. And you're sitting, we're not going to get into it now, but you're sitting somewhere kind of cool, and it's going to be relevant to our topic today, Gillian.
Absolutely.
This is really neat, Gillian. By my count, I was checking our YouTube channel on Ottawa Business Journal. We have 6 of these shows in our Best Ottawa Offices playlist. So thank you for all that. It's like a treasure trove, Gillian, of all this information on how to create an effective office.
Well, it certainly followed the journey of, the shutdowns and then this journey back. And, I look back to them and I think, oh my God, was it really like that? It was, it was 4 years ago already. So,
and it's been a sea change, Gillian. I mean, you've been in this industry for many, many years. I mean, the change that we've experienced in the past several years, it's unseen. It's incredible.
Yeah, absolutely.
And listen, Gillian, I think we've always had some great conversations. Today's going to be another great one. In my mind, Gillian, we've talked about principles such as flexibility and productivity. And today we're really talking about a specific idea. And we've got a special guest. It's a Finnish company that is the industry pioneer and the world's leading manufacturer of acoustic pods. The company is called Framery. Tell us a little bit about this company, Gillian.
Okay. Burovision has been exclusively partnered with Framery for a number of years. And partnership is really core of everything that we do at Burovision. We carefully choose the suppliers that we work with and that we partner with. And we hold as one of our 4 core values, proud to partner, for everyone at Burovision to respect and to pursue at all times. So we chose the best in class supplier, which is Framery, that not only has the wonderful products that they have, but they also hold this similar value. You mentioned that they were the leading manufacturer of acoustic pods and so forth, but also people immediately think of an acoustic pod or a phone booth being in an office, but they're also used in common spaces, manufacturing facilities, healthcare environments, and educational facilities, just to give you a few examples. And with Framery's extremely strong focus on research and development and commitment, they commit to practicing what they preach. Framery strives to provide keys to overall work-life success in a sustainable manner. And this belief is truly in lockstep with another of our own, which is creating those spaces where people want to be able to do their best work.
And I think at this point, Gillian, I should point out that not only are we talking about Framery, but you're sitting in a Framery acoustic pod in your fantastic new showroom.
I am. It's beautifully set almost in the middle of the space, glass on both sides. This actually will house 4 people for collaboration, or, as we're seeing, 4 people in-house, maybe somebody is remote, but I've got a beautiful view out to Spark Street, and it's just an amazing spot. I have to get you over here. You missed our grand opening. You were away, but you have to come by and have a coffee soon and see the space.
I can't wait to see it. And I saw photos of the opening. It blew my mind, Gillian. You people are so creative. I can't believe I missed the party. As I joked to you, it might have been the best party, or probably was the best party of the year. So, that's Gillian, not only are we talking about Framery, but we've got a special guest from Framery. Maybe tell us a little bit more about our special guest.
We do. I'm very excited that Kendryn Hutt of Framery is our special guest today. Kendryn really is a subject matter expert on all things relating to acoustic privacy and next generation smart pods in the office and elsewhere. She runs the Canadian market for Framery, and has done so for the past 6 years. And very serendipitously, she also spent 15 years at Herman Miller, now Miller Knoll, who is our key contract furniture supplier. She is truly a great partner to and resource for all of us at Burovision. And I'm very, very pleased that she can join us today and share her wealth of knowledge with the audience.
Well, we are all about bringing the experts to our audience. So let's meet Kendryn now. Here is Kendryn Hutt from Framery. Hello, Kendryn.
Hello, Michael, and
Were
thank
your
you for the
ears
kind
ringing?
words, Gillian. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to get right down to it here. As we often do, we divide our shows into 3 topics. So we're going to go through those topics right now. Topic number 1, we're going to get to this in just a few seconds here, is what solutions are needed for this new work era. Topic 2, who benefits from having acoustic pods and how to engineer them in a smarter office. Our third and final topic will be, why does having space for privacy and acoustics matters? I've got lots to say on that one. And then we're going to wrap up with our Q&A. So if you're watching on YouTube or LinkedIn or X, you can ask questions on any of those platforms, and they're going to come to us, and we'll filter through some of them. Gillian, you're going to go backstage now, but we're going to see you during our Q&A. So we'll see you soon, Gillian.
Absolutely.
And Kendryn, we're going to launch right into topic number 1. So once again, it's what solutions are needed for this new era of work? Over to you, Kendryn.
Perfect. Well, the office landscape has changed, and offices around the globe have been impacted by things like the rise of remote work, digital integration, and a shift toward more flexible working environments. Acoustic pods have become a necessity for high-performing offices to support both virtual and in-person work, as well as heads-down focus work. Some interesting stats. 81% of meetings today contain 4 people or less, and 90% of meetings include at least 1 virtual participant. So with a massive increase in video conferencing, appropriately sized enclosed spaces are required so that people can do their work efficiently, so that they won't disrupt others in the office, and also so that the real estate is being used efficiently as well. Another interesting stat is that 65% of the work performed at the office is actually individual work. And that's a large percentage, probably greater than most of us even realize. So it's no wonder that sometimes employees criticize open plan environments, because they do often fail to support the deeply focused work that most of us do throughout the majority of the day. And when it comes to knowledge workers, they think for a living, so they need these long spans of uninterrupted time to do their brain work.
I have so much on my mind as you're speaking and making all those great points and sharing those statistics with us. One of the things we talked about, Kendryn, in the past with Gillian is this, I think we call it like an equity of experience, right? So there's going to be a small number of people, let's say it's 2 or 3, as you said, and then someone remote. When I'm envisioning Framery acoustic booths, I'm really thinking that's a great professional environment to have that meeting.
Absolutely. And talk about equity of experience. It's not simply about those that are working from home and those are at the office. We're even seeing today with employees at the office are joining into calls, each from their own enclosed pod. So having that equal experience, if you will.
Yeah. And I will share with you, we're at Invest Ottawa. OBJ has a cubicle and some space there. And Invest Ottawa, by the way, is our kind of innovation hub for Ottawa. And it's full of these booths. They are packed all the time. You can't get access to them, which demonstrates to me their effectiveness and how popular they've become. Like, I think 5 years ago, they were like, oh, that's really interesting. But now everyone feels really comfortable, Kendryn, jumping into these things. In fact, it's not even feel comfortable. They prefer to be in them.
That's just it. That's just it. I mean, obviously the office landscape has changed, and people want these types of spaces for the different types of work that they need to do throughout the day.
Okay, cool. So we're going to jump right into our second topic, which is who benefits from having acoustic pods?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I'm going to say 2 groups: organizations, as well as anyone who works in a noisy environment. So I'll explain. As Gillian mentioned before, pods are multifunctional spaces that can be used to provide acoustic privacy in lots of different environments. So of course we see them in offices, but they can be found in secondary schools, universities, libraries, healthcare environments, as well as manufacturing facilities. And when you think about people working and learning in these types of environments, they obviously need respite from noise as well. The other thing is employees want choice and variety when it comes to their experiences at the workplace. So in order for them to be productive and to be able to perform their duties efficiently and effectively, they need to be able to toggle between these different types of modes throughout the day, and they need the right types of spaces to support those different modes. The other thing is, if the employee's functional needs aren't being met, they won't be as compelled to come into the office. So the quality of the employee experience really is paramount. And 58% of people in the office say their office doesn't have enough quiet spaces. Now, companies also benefit. And what I mean by that is pods are the most economical, sustainable, and highly adaptable solution to support today's meeting culture and hybrid work. Pods have been designed to utilize floor space more efficiently than traditionally constructed rooms. And in some cases, pods use 70% less floor space than a traditionally built meeting room, which is a massive cost savings in and of itself. They allow for a lot greater flexibility in terms of reconfiguring and rearranging, really to be able for organizations to accommodate the evolving needs of their employees. And of course, they can take their investment with them if they move to a new location. The other thing is, as we're seeing shorter lease terms, clients are really looking for cost-effective solutions with an emphasis on flexibility, which is what these pods provide.
Yeah, I really want to underline that point, Kendryn. So last time I was involved in a fit up of an office, it was kind of the old way of doing it. We had, I think, 3,000 or 4,000 square feet. We spent, I think, $150,000 building walls.
Right.
150,000. Now we had a 7-year lease and we enjoyed the space.
Yeah.
But you know where I'm going with this. After 7 years, we left.
Right.
And guess what stayed? The $150,000 for walls.
Absolutely.
Right. And those and to some degree, like some of those offices, I really like the point you made about kind of the physical space that's taken, because some of those offices, we kind of created them to create a sense of privacy, but they were way over engineered. Like they were big, Kendryn. They didn't necessarily need to be that big. We could have shrunk our footprint and saved some money here and not build permanent walls.
And if I may, pods also deliver a guaranteed level of acoustic privacy that often can't be matched with construction.
Yeah. And when Gillian comes back on screen here, I should have pointed out when she was on screen, listen to the audio. Wow. It's like she's in a professional sound booth.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Anyway, we'll stay on topic here. I'm obviously really interested in this topic. So we're going to talk about engineering, how to engineer a smarter office. So let's dig into this and then we'll go to our third topic.
Sure. So a well-functioning workplace needs to be smarter, right? Needs to be integrated with technology. And again, it needs to adapt to the changing needs of the users. Smart pods are designed and engineered to make the workplace experience better and easier for employees. So they're soundproof, they're fully connected spaces, which are integrated with technology. They're easy to book, and they will automatically adapt to the user's needs. The nice thing about smart pods is they can be synced with the office calendar system, which means users can reserve their favorite spaces to work in advance from their desktop, or they can do it on the fly through their phone via an app. And the other thing is smart pods will provide organizations with access to real-time occupancy data. And so whether we're talking about an organization that has 5 pods or an organization that has like a large fleet of pods across several different locations, it provides them with valuable insights so they can make good data-driven decisions around their real estate usage. Now, from a practical perspective, pods should be placed within close proximity to where the workers are so they can quickly see if they're available and access them. High-performing pods should have a speech level reduction or a DSA rating of 30 decibels. This will guarantee full speech privacy, and it means that the pods can be placed right next to the users without interrupting them. They will have that full privacy, and they won't interrupt one another. There should be a mix of bookable and non-bookable pods. So obviously you can reserve in advance while still keeping some pods available for kind of those ad hoc requirements. And I would say in terms of ratios in general, there should be one single person pod and one meeting pod for every 6 to 12 employees. Now, of course, this ratio is going to vary depending on the organization and the nature of their work. But that's kind of the ratio. The other important thing is that barrier-free pods should also be available to ensure everyone has access to acoustic privacy when needed.
Okay. Wow. You said so much there. So the first thing I'll just repeat that it's not just a physical pod, it's like a technology solution. So people should get that. The second point you said that I'll just underline here a little bit is I get the proximity to someone because sometimes it's a pop-in. Sometimes it's I book the meeting in the pod for 2, but also there needs to be a couple pods available to someone just called me on my cell phone. There's a pod right there. I'll pop in. Is that the way it works?
Absolutely.
That's the way to optimize this. Okay. Pretty neat. Okay. We're flying through this, Kendryn. We're going to go to our third topic. And this topic is, I like this topic, and we're going to chat about this here in a second. But why does having a space for privacy and acoustics matter?
Well, it matters because distractions kills productivity. And there are constant interruptions in the workplace. So things like phone calls, overheard conversations, office noise, right? All of these things make it really difficult for people to focus on. And we know that people working in open environments perceive conversational noise to be the most disruptive. Our brains also are wired in such a way that they're always kind of analyzing and processing intended and unintended auditory signals, which of course is both disruptive and exhausting to us throughout the day. Interruptions in workflow happen on average every 11 minutes, and it can take up to 25 minutes for an employee to get refocused again on the task at hand. So when you look at that, I mean, noise can lower productivity by as much as 25%. The other thing is noise also has a negative effect on the body physiologically as well as psychologically. In terms of physiologically, things like stress hormones get released into the body, into the bloodstream, and heart rate will increase and blood pressure levels will rise. And these are things that are happening to us and we sometimes don't even realize it. So the presence of noise in many forms is a challenge when it comes to creating a healthy workplace. Now, a solution to this is providing access to on-demand privacy by way of acoustic pods. And research shows that when employees have some degree of control over the noise in their environment, they actually feel less distracted by the noise in their environment. So when people can kind of step away, whether it's to take a phone call, to focus on some heads down work, or simply just rest and recharge, user satisfaction increases along with performance and overall well-being.
Really good stuff. A couple key points here, I think. So many businesses, are working hybrid.
Yeah.
And I think, as we've said, talked with Gillian many times, the office needs to be attractive. It needs to be like this magnet where I want to come to the office. As I think about these pods, when I'm at home, things are very quiet. I don't know if I don't think I'm that unique in that. So if I'm going to come into the office, I still want that at times I want things to be quiet if we're not, collaborating. So I think if it's not going to be quiet in the office and I can't take some time to think, then that's going to be a big negative, not only for me, but the business, because I'm going to say I can't get as much work done in the office. So this is a bit of a solution, right?
You're absolutely right, Michael. And I think people's tolerance for noise has gone way, way down. Having spent those times working from home, you're right, people had more control over the noise in their environment. Now they have different expectations when they're going back into the office.
We're going to go to our Q&A. Sorry, I should say we're going to the Q&A in about 2 minutes. So if you got some questions, please start asking them. We're going to go to you in a second. And just before we do that, Kendryn, one other thought to share with you. So I'm imagining, pre-pandemic OBJ's office. So we got some reporters and editors, we got sales and marketing people, and we got designers, generally speaking, some admin people as well. We were in a cubicle type layout. Reporters sometimes need to have private discussions. We had no solution for that unless they went to the boardroom, and there was only one boardroom. The other thing I'm thinking about, and this is really practical and gets to your point on efficiency, I think sometimes our salespeople needed to make calls to clients, and they were reaching out. Some people might call it cold calling. Well, look, in this type of professional environment, I'm thinking they could make 10% more calls, 20% more calls, 30% more calls, not get distracted. That's money, right, Kendryn?
Absolutely. And it's not just the users themselves that are making those calls and they want to have a good experience. What does it sound like to the person on the other end of the telephone? You and I have been on telephone calls with other people, and you can hear that background noise. It's distracting for you as well, the customer. So absolutely.
Yeah. Unprofessional too sometimes, right?
Very much so.
All of us have talked to people with a noisy background, and you're like, what is going on? Okay, we've teased it for the last 22, 23 minutes. We're great on time, by the way. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to bring Gillian back. Gillian, I bet your head was nodding.
Yes, lots. Absolutely. I was going like this. And luckily I was muted because I was talking to myself a bit as well.
You're getting a sore neck. You're doing so much of this. Okay. So listen, I'm going to take a look at some of these questions. And okay, interesting. So this one's more of a statement, but I'm going to bring this comment on from Gillian Walcott saying the top pharmaceutical companies in the US are using pods quite effectively. So kind of demonstrates Kendryn and Gillian the point that many different types of companies are using these.
Yes.
And we got a comment from, this is something important to talk about. We got a comment, unfortunately anonymous, otherwise I'd give you a shout out, but they're saying, let's start with this. Are the pods movable in the space, within the space? So I think they're not just saying, when you change offices, can you bring them? I think we already said that, but are they movable somewhat within the space? Kendryn or Gillian, one of you tackle that.
The single pods, which people quite often call phone booths, but the single pods, the compact and the smart pods that we have that are intended for one person can be purchased with a mobility kit, which do allow the users to move it within the space. And it's important because if you remember, Kendryn spoke about the data that's being fed back to facilities managers or human resources or space planners within the company. We want to place these pods very close to noisy areas, very close to, workstation clusters and so forth. And they may have a thought process. And we've seen this in actual installations where, I got to put that pod somewhere quiet. And because it's not adjacent to the workstation, because it's not accessible and right there, the use on those, am I correct, Kendryn, is dramatically lower than the ones that are workstation adjacent. We at Burovision, we actually plan the single pod as part of the workstation planning, because then everybody in that particular area or pod can use it. If it's out in a corner somewhere in a hall, people aren't going to get up and walk over there. You need to have it where it's visual and adjacent to spaces that people are working. So you have the ability, if you maybe need to replan some locations, you have the ability to move the single units. We can move the bigger ones, but we do require trained service technicians to come in.
Right. And the bigger ones with our new smart pods that were introduced, there is a special movability kit that allows you, right, Gillian, your team to go in and relocate them. They don't need to be disassembled, but they can still be moved across the floor plate, which is great. And then, of course, they have been designed and engineered that they can easily be disassembled and relocated in another physical location should the client move.
Very cool. It gives
Yeah.
that flexibility that Gillian and I have talked about so often. We've
Mhm.
got another LinkedIn comment here, and the comment is, who can access the occupancy data that is provided through the built-in Framery Connect platform?
So that data is accessible to an administrator within the organization. That is their data. If they want to share it amongst people within their organization, they are the ones to invite them in to have access. But there is initially one identified main contact who sees that information.
Beautiful. We're going to stick with you, Kendryn, on this question. So let's say that someone's listened to us so far, they're understanding, why to use these pods, how to use these pods. Let's imagine they've got a blank slate office. Do the pods arrive pre-assembled is the question.
They do not arrive pre-assembled, which is wonderful because we see these pods being installed in lots of different types of environments, including heritage buildings that may not necessarily have an elevator. So they are assembled on site. The beauty of these pods is that in a day, in a matter of hours, you can build rooms.
Okay, so they're not pre-assembled, and I think I understood your point there, Kendryn, because if they were pre-assembled, you couldn't get them into the office. But you could still, I'm going to say that like a Lego, you can still build them quite easily.
Absolutely.
Okay, so they can be assembled quite quickly. And Gillian, maybe just to check in on you on that, have you seen any experiences in terms of the quick assembly in your practice? Have you seen any local examples?
Well, right in here in our own showroom,
there you go.
We brought in the next generation of smart pods and changed out a couple of existing pods. And our service technicians or installers have been trained by Framery experts on efficient and effective installation of the pods. So in our own space, we disassembled 2 and brought in 2 new ones. So we disassembled a single, and this was the older generation, and a quad, a 4-person one, and put the new ones in, and it was less than a day and a half.
Okay. And there's a bit of a natural segue here, so I'll just ask this, Gillian. So if people are watching this, they can come to your office or elsewhere in Ottawa to see these pods, right?
Absolutely. We have them in our space as well as a number installed throughout the city.
Cool. And we're going to give your address just as we wrap up. Just looking, it's a similar question, Kendryn, that's been asked before, but it's just a little bit, I think the question relates to if the booking technology. So this can be used by anyone that a company decides. So I guess you designate certain people to have access to the booking info for these pods so that the users themselves can book them, Kendryn?
Correct. Exactly right. So, and again, what's critical is having a smart pod. I'm quite proud to say that Framery is the world's first manufacturer of these smart pods that has this advanced technology integrated into it. And again, we know the world is becoming more and more connected. We want to provide clients with information they're looking for. Again, this usage data so they can make the best decisions around their physical space.
Excellent. Well, listen, we've almost come to the end of the show, but we still have some great information, so stay tuned. Gillian, we're going to move to you here in a second. We're going to move into our takeaway segment, that is. But as you're walking us through our wrap-up, we're going to play a very cool video, and Gillian, we can start with those takeaways.
Yeah, so in addition to the key messages that were presented today, I really did want to feature and reiterate some really important reasons that acoustic pods, smart pods, are critical in today's workplace and even more critical in a hybrid environment. Number one is concentration and productivity. Individual heads down work free from distractions and noise is extremely important to employees. Whether it's a quick, I have to check some numbers, or they need a good hour by themselves. There's a myriad of reasons, but number one is concentration and productivity. Number two is confidentiality. In every workplace, there are discussions and work tasks that need to happen that have to have absolute acoustic privacy and maintain it. So that's the second reason that you need to consider these. Comfort and well-being. And Kendryn was extremely eloquent on this subject that boils down to noise can be stressful. it can be very stressful. So having the ability to get away from that noise is important. The fourth takeaway is respect for individual work styles. And what that really means, and we've spoken about it before, Michael, is the choice and availability of where and how to work within the ecosystem of the office. So it's really respect for how people work. I think one of the most critical, they're all really important, is the mitigation of hybrid work challenges. And I'll give you two examples. Equity of experience that we have spoken about on every webinar of remote meeting participants, so that they may not be physically in the room, but the experience they have is the same as those people that are in person in the meeting. And finally is support for collaboration. Acoustic privacy solutions need to strike a balance between spaces for individual focus work and facilitating collaboration through designated larger meeting spaces and pods with appropriate sound management. So that really is a laundry list of very valid reasons to include these in your space planning.
Yeah, a great way to wrap up. Kendryn, that's a great video. Wow. Pretty neat. I mean, it just shows you how they can be used effectively in that type of stuff.
And Michael, if you think the video is great, people should come down to Burovision to try the pods in person, because they are really impressive.
Okay. That's really neat, and to get this new generation there, I picked up on. Well, listen, Kendryn, I want to thank you very much for joining us today. You're a great advocate for this office solution, and to you, Gillian, I want to thank you for continuing to be a partner for Best Offices Ottawa, and we'll see you both soon. And thank you again for joining us today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kendryn.
Okay, as we're signing off today, I want to remind everyone again that if you go to YouTube, Ottawa Business Journal, there is something called a playlist, and there is a playlist devoted to some of these Burovision videos. I believe today's video will be number 7. Also, if you've been watching today and you're thinking, oh, I need to share this with someone, this video itself on the YouTube channel, look under the live YouTube videos, will become instantly replayable. You can share it with anyone in your HR department or operations department if you want to share some of this information. And that's all the time we do have for today. I want to remind everyone, from an Ottawa Business Journal perspective, you can visit obj.ca every day for the latest news and business information. By the way, we just launched something called the OBJ Data Center. You're the first to hear about it right here in this podcast. Go to obj.ca, look at the top nav, click on the data center, check it out. I also highly recommend that you subscribe to OBJ Today, our weekday email newsletter. Of course, you can follow us on social media. I think we're approaching 40,000 followers on LinkedIn. So that's a big thing for us. Again, thank you for joining us today. Please stay tuned for more great news from Best Ottawa Offices. The magazine itself. So this project kind of culminates in the launch of a magazine that's going to happen in late summer, early fall. So stay tuned for that. And you can actually go to bestofficesottawa.ca if you want to check out last year's magazine. All right, that's all the time we have for today. On behalf of Framery and Burovision, I'm Michael Curran, signing off from Ottawa Business Journal. See you, everyone. Bye-bye.